Hey, who remembers the front porch? Who remembers being on the front porch watching your neighborhood? You watched the boys play football. They had a basketball court on the corner. You knew who your neighbors were. You knew. You knew what the front porch was about. Okay. It's not until they start putting them decks on the back. And it took our neighborhoods from sitting on the front porch. Y'all, I got a good one for y'all today. So stay tuned. Hey y'all, it's Bernita Rochele and welcome to my spoken word and conversations, y'all. We gonna get right up into this here. Now, remember, I'm not cross-eyed. It is the her or the glasses, honey. I'm not cross-eyed at all. Y'all, listen. You know what I want to bring back, honey? Remember the front porch. You heard the title. Then you felt free. You felt free. Because you was on the front porch. On the front porch is where it all began. Yeah, I know y'all remember that. Neighbors knew each other. You had Miss Scott across the street. She had a pear tree right next door to her house. She will let you grab an apple, one or two or three. Remember, the front porch was where your friends gathered. Boys played football right in the middle of the street. It all was seen from the front porch. Yes, honey, the front porch was where your grandma sat in her big red chair, shucking peas, and you and the neighbor kids would join in to help. On the front porch, you saw boys playing marbles, girls jumping rope, and let's not forget that old hopscotch. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1. You know how I used to go. On the front porch is where some got their hair braided. It was community. Yes, it was community seen from the front porch. That is where it all took place, honey. Barbecues at night. Family gathered on the front porch. Neighbors knew each other. You felt safe to ride your bikes in the neighborhood because someone knew who child you was. Yes, honey. Y'all, honey, and let's not forget when those street lights came on, you had to be in the house. Yes, honey. It's called on the front porch, or remember. That's what it is. Remember the front porch, honey. Who remember the front porch? Who remembers the front porch? Honey, I know you do. The front porch was community. It was like people would be outside. You had sidewalks where you swept. So you would see your neighbors out there sweeping. You would just, it was community. It was community. And you know what? Around COVID time, I was listening to a pastor, and I ain't seen this pastor on, and I used to be subscribed to him, but I have not seen him on, and he was really good. I think he was in Washington. I think he was a doctor. We gonna give him his props. I think it was Dr. Howard. I think that's what it was. And I ain't seen him, but he had gave a sermon on the front porch. No, it was about, I think it was called the front porch. I can't remember. But in that part of the sermon, he talked about when those decks came and people wanted to go to the back. Because think about it. All these decks did, when I say decks, you built them to your house. It took you to the back. So therefore, you can no longer see what's going on in your neighborhood. You know, as the time modernized or whatever, you know what I'm trying to say, got up to date. Let's just make it that simple. Okay. And they start building these houses with decks instead of being on the front, seeing who your neighbors were and what was going on in the neighborhood. Now you're in the back. And in the back, you can't see nothing. Okay. So that took us out of our community to tell you, even though we were in the community, I believe that it took us out. So when he did that sermon, I was like, oh my God. I keep doing that because that was Whitney. She'd be like, oh my God, when that wig fell off. I can't. But yeah, so that's what it felt like. And I think melanemics don't know community. Okay. They don't know community. I ain't saying all of them. Let's make that clear. But when they start putting them decks in the back, people thought that was a grand old idea. No. When I look at it now and remembering when that pastor was talking about how people were on the front porch and it's not until the deck came. I don't even know if he put that in there, but I just came up with that. I can't remember what that sermon is, but I know his name was Dr. Howard. He was somebody in Washington. Yeah, I think he lived in Washington. But anyway, it makes sense. It took us away from our community, meeting our neighbors. Now people are on blocks. They don't even know who their neighbors are. And the thing about it is, some of these neighbors don't even care to know who they around. Okay. And that's wild. That's wild to me. But I know who my neighbors is. I be like, I be looking, I be like, hey, how you doing today? What how you, when somebody new come in, and that's rare. It's rare, but I'm checking to see how are you. I'm not in your business, but I'm just like, hey, how you doing? You need to do that. Okay. But it's not until them decks came and they took it to the back. Now you don't know who your neighbor is. You don't. And it's sad. It's sad. It's really sad, honey. The front porch, honey, is where beefs got squashed with your little neighborhood friends. Remember that? You may have been into a little squabble. Bam, 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 bam. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? But that's where the beefs got squashed. It didn't linger on like it is. I mean, you really felt free. You felt free. When I think about this, I thought that my neighborhood was the only place. I thought that my neighborhood was the only place, meaning like I thought it was just us. You know what I'm saying? When I really look back at that, and then you realize that everybody is not like your hood. Okay. You had your friends where you played, and man, let's talk about grandma shucking them peas. That really did. That's what really happened. That was community. When I look back at that, that was community. But when I look at how people want to divide because they don't have their like they, oh God, I'm gonna come back to that, and I'm gonna get my thoughts together when I try to think about because when I was reading why are all the melanin children sitting in the back of the cafeteria, sitting in the cafeteria alone or whatever. I forget. The book is up here. I'm going to have to get it, and I'll put it at the end or put it somewhere. In that particular book, it talked about how melanemics don't want nobody to come to their community. And so therefore, they're isolated. So they don't get to know anybody else because of what their generation has taught them. So they don't get to know that. But hey, that's not our responsibility. Just like we got out to learn other cultures and other things, you needed to do that for yourself. And I'm not, listen, that's your responsibility to learn other cultures. But when your brain has been so tainted, that's just a part of you now. That's a part of you until you have your own coming to the light. You gotta have your own coming to the light. But who wants to be around somebody that don't want you around? Honey, no. Honey, no. People need to be free to be who they be. That's what they need to be. Now, let me get on back. But the front porch was where community in the melanin community took place. You swept like you actually swept your yard. You didn't have a blower. You swept your yard. So therefore, you may be out there sweeping. Then your neighbor, she'll come out there and start sweeping. So therefore, you like, hey, Miss Maddie, how you doing? Yeah, what you cooking today? Yeah, that's what I'm cooking. And you had your sedity ones too, in the hood. It happened, but that was okay. Because somebody that was in that house was willing to speak to you. Okay? So you had your crew that you grew. Man, when I think about the front porch, back in the day when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore, but some days I sit and wish I was a kid again. Honey, community back then was so worth it on the front porch. Y'all, listen, thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for watching. Okay, for one, keep watching, y'all. Thank you to my new ones and thank you to my day ones. Y'all are so appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank y'all for riding with a girl. Listen, well, that's it. That's all for me today, y'all. Thank you so much for watching. Peace, community, y'all. Hey, y'all, it's Bernita Rochele, and welcome to my spoken word and conversations. Hey, y'all, it's Bernita Rochele, and welcome to my spoken word and conversation